morning, good evening, good day, and good night. How's everybody doing this fine morning? Well, I hope. Oh, excuse me. Ranger? Barely know her. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Nobody plays her after level 5 or 6, really. After 7, people just kind of drop the Ranger most of the time. Quick shout to my... Oh, man. Hey, Doc. How's it doing? How's it going today? Ranger was my favorite Ranger was three Ranger, 17 cleric. Yeah, that's usually how it goes, right? Like everyone's favorite Ranger is like, I'm gonna dip a little bit into Ranger, and then just and play like a Ranger. But I'm actually this class because this class is just straight better. And I mean, and it's not, and I don't blame people for doing that, because the Ranger, after, you know, level 6, 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there, depending upon what you're looking for, just doesn't got it. They just don't got it. The Ranger was my very first character. Like, it was my very first character class. Back, like 18 freaking years ago. Back when I was playing 3.5. I think that's technically before 4th edition came out too. That was like the game at the time. So, one of the things that I found over my travels yesterday is actually that somehow, by pure serendipity, and I mean that in the most like honest sense, oh. Where is it here? Tenant Monk Temple created a series of changes for the Ranger, and did them in and he's actually addressing the exact same thing over the course of this week, much like I am, which is hilarious, because I had no idea he was doing this, and we happen to be doing it at the exact same like week. And hilariously, our thoughts on the Ranger are basically the same too. He's just taking a very different approach than I would have. Which is, he decided it was upcasting Hail of Thorns with True Strike, so it was kind of like a wisdom-based Ranger Sorcad with heavy crossbow. Whatever works, right? And here's the thing. I think that's cool, because that's a unique idea, right? It's a unique way of playing the Ranger. And the thing is that if you combine that with things like Hunter's Mark, even though like Hunter's Mark doesn't scale very well, and other utilities that you get as a cleric, you can just really pop off. Like, for example, if you cast Holy Weapon on yourself and then just went nuts, like, you could start really dishing out some damage, as one example. Hail of Thorns is not a great spell. It's not a bad spell. References, spells, there we go. So, what Tenant Monk did, and I'm gonna see if I can just get this to, no, I don't want to do that. I want to just open a new window here. This. No, I don't need... Oh, I don't need that. Alright, here we go. He actually did something pretty ingenious here. But I don't think I actually like this approach personally. I think it's fun. I don't think it's a bad approach. And I think it does address some of the issues. And maybe it's just because I want to have a specific style that has always, which is what the Ranger has always been. But his approach is, let's deal with the Ranger's spell casting before anything else. And he dealt with it by doing something rather clever, which is he changed favorite enemy into, rather than it being a, just a straight up Hunter's Mark thing. He turned it, which I was going to look into doing something kind of like this, except I was going to tie it to subclasses. Is he turned it into Ranger spell slots. So the way that it works is you choose 2 spells from the list below, which are all the exclusive Ranger spells, like Ranger only spells. Those spells are always prepared for you. And when you use a spell slot to cast a chosen spell, you may immediately recover the spell slot, no action required, by expending a number of uses of this ability equal to your spell slot. So if you cast a 2nd level spell, you can immediately use up, if you choose, and it happens to be one of the 2 one of the 2 spells that you chose at the beginning of the day. Like, for example, just say that you prepared Cordon of Arrows in there. You cast Cordon of Arrows, you can, instead of spending the 2nd level spell slot, you can then spend the 2 uses of your favorite enemy. I think this is interesting. I think this is a cool idea. It also means that you can upcast stuff and you'll get value out of it that way as well. To begin with, you begin with 2 uses and it increases as it progresses all the way up to 6, which basically means you get to cast. You get a free casting of your highest level slot that is a Ranger spell, Ranger exclusive spell, every time. There's ways to manipulate it to make it a little bit more efficient than that, obviously. Like 2 2s, or 2 2s or a 3 and a 1 or something like that, depending upon how many you have, like a 4, for example. But basically, it's a way for you to get, most of the time, 2 extra castings of your spells. Sometimes it's 3, but usually I would say that it's probably going to work out to be about 2. And then, of course, he has the listed spells here that are all the Ranger exclusive spells in the 2024 rules. There is one thing, and I noticed this yesterday, which is that there is no 4th level spell slot, or no 4th level spell slot, 4th level spell that is exclusive to the Ranger. And I feel like that's a major oversight. There really should be 2 at each level, in my opinion. Like, there's 2 5ths, 2 3rds, 3 1sts. We really could use a second level, and we really could use 2 4th level spells that are just the Ranger spells. I don't know what they would be off the top of my head. I have some ideas, but that's not what we're addressing right now. He then goes on to effectively buff or give some quality of life changes to all of the ranger spells that need it. So Ensnaring Strike, for example, has been changed so that it doesn't require concentration, which means that you can pair it up with Hunter's Mark, which I think is actually fine because you are burning one of your very few spell slots. Albeit you have more in this build anyways, but even if we don't utilize the changes that he has to favorite enemy, these changes to the spells are very welcomed. They take an extra d6 of piercing damage, and they automatically become restrained. And that does not require concentration. And the thing is, like, this makes sense because it's already a weapon attack. And the saving throw is to end the effect. They just take bonus damage, which I think if you're playing a ranger and you're burning a slot, you should just automatically get something out of it. Having a save suck spell on something when you already are attacking, you already succeeded on the attack, being denied everything after that feels bad. So I like this change to the Ensnaring Strike. Hail of Thorns, I believe, is mostly the same. Yeah, he just reduced the damage but made it a guaranteed thing. So he got rid of the bonus damage on the main target. Yeah, so he reduced the damage from a D10 to a D6, but made it so that it's just automatic. And I kind of like this choice. I think it's kind of nuts, not gonna lie, but it is still weaker than something like Ice Knife. In a vacuum, it's weaker than Ice Knife, right? If you stack it with Hunter's Mark, it's better, obviously, but it requires a cast time of a bonus action, which you immediately take after hitting a creature. Yes, they operate kind of like smites, but honestly, that's the best way to run it. So I kind of like this. I don't see a problem with this. I think this is good. I believe that this is going to help the ranger a lot. They are going to feel very, very powerful with these spells. They were already pretty good. They weren't the best, but they were really good at dishing out damage at levels 1 through 5. This is really going to help them, like, kind of push into that hyper DPS role if they burn slots. Kind of keeping up a little bit with the paladin on Nova damage. This is a little bit of area damage. An extra d6 of piercing damage on an area is not huge, but it can get rid of some adds. And if you get a high roll, you can take out things like kobolds and stuff like that. So I think this is fine. Hunter's Mark, the only change, he made 2 changes, if my memory serves, which is the range to 150 feet. I always felt that 90 feet was weird. I kind of like the range increase. And then I believe the only other change, he did 2 changes. Here it is. The creatures that are invisible are no longer have the invisible condition as if they were visible. So you see invisible creatures that you have marked. You also have advantage on survival checks to find them. And if the target drops below 0 hit points, you can take a bonus action to move it. The only other change I believe he made was, yeah, if he's level 3 or higher as a spell cast, it no longer requires concentration. The durations are basically the same. So I actually kind of like this, and I don't like it at the same time. So one of the things that I noticed here is that he addresses the same issue that I did at at level 10, which in all honesty is one ranger level later, in all fairness. Which is that one of my ideas was that you just no longer need to concentrate on Hunter's Mark, period. And I was thinking maybe it's better if I put this as a class feature rather than a spell feature. Because if I put it as a class feature, then you have to be going Ranger in order for this to be useful. Not gonna lie, I do like this approach a bit. I don't know if I like it more or less, though. I think I like it about the same. Because my argument against this is... Now, you have a comparison spell here, which is Bestow Curse. Bestow Curse is a similar spell, sure. But unless my memory... unless I'm remembering wrong... Bestow Curse requires concentration. Yes, Bestow Curse requires concentration, and it's a 3rd level spell. And if you cast the spell using a 4th slot, maintain concentration for 10 minutes. If it's a 5th level slot, you maintain, and it no longer requires concentration, and the duration becomes 8 hours. For 5 or 6 slots, 24 for 7 to 8, or 9th level, it lasts until this spell. So here's the deal. This is a 5th level spell slot to become no longer concentration for the Bestow Curse. This is a 3rd level for Hunter's Mark to no longer require concentration. Now, I see the, the apples to oranges comparison here. Both are fruit, but you gotta treat them a little bit differently. I see the comparison. I see the logic. I see the idea here. Because 5th level spells come online at what level? 9th level spellcaster. When does 3rd level spells come online? 9th level half-casters. So it comes out at the same time. It is a ranger exclusive spell. Now, this does mean that if you do a 1-level ranger dip and go full druid or full cleric immediately after, yes, you do have access to Hunter's Mark, not requiring concentration as early as level 6. But I don't think that's that big of a deal. And the main reason is because clerics can't get extra attack. I don't think they don't ever get extra attack. Same thing with druids. I don't think they ever get extra attack. I think the Moon Druid specifically does, but I think the Moon Druid just wants to scale harder into their Moon Druid levels anyways. Is there some cheesy things that you can do with this? Yes. Do I still think that the 2-level, if you want some like powerful martial-oriented actions, do I still think that the 2-level dip into fighter is better? Yeah, I think so still. I still think so. Is this a dangerous idea if you want to put... Do I think it's still dangerous to have this as an option for the monk? Being able to get 4 attacks out as of level 5, and being able to just cast Hunter's Mark for the first turn, go pop pop, and then next turn just flurry. I get a ton of bonus dice. To be level 6, excuse me. Do I think that's a problem? Potentially. Do I think it's any worse than the Ranger dual wielding? No. If anything, I think it's more dangerous on the Ranger dual wielding still, because the Ranger dual wielding gets 3 attacks on the same turn that they cast Hunter's Mark. And the Ranger is more durable than the Monk, ironically. Well, sort of. The Monk has circumstantial defenses, whereas the Ranger has just flat defenses. So I have some minor issues with this as a spell, with this idea being put on as on the spell. I don't hate it. It's not the approach I would have taken, but it's not the approach I did take. But I don't know how I feel about it overall. I think it's fine. It does mean that I could open up. It does mean if I were to take this, just scoop his changes. It does mean that I'd be able to, what's the word I'm looking for here? It does mean that I would be able to turn that 10th level feature into something different, which is good. I think if I were to change anything on hunters on favorite enemy, if I were lifting these spells, I wouldn't take his approach. I would just make it so that you can upcast Hunter's Mark by expending additional uses of your favorite foe or your favorite enemy, and give some reason to cast it at 2nd level and some reason to cast it at 4th level. It does create an issue, though, that is if you cast it at 5th level, you have a floating use of Hunter's Mark. But if you have subclass-oriented uses for it, then it doesn't matter. So I think I can actually probably still just lift this. Cordon of Arrows, my 4 thing. This is one of my favorite spells for its flavor, for what it does. But it just sucks. It just sucks. 2d4 damage at level 5. Once a grand total of 8d4 damage is not for your action, and the 2nd level spell slot is just not good. It's just not good enough. It's just not. It just isn't. That's what is that? That's 5, 10, 15, 20 damage. As opposed to casting Hunter's Mark for a 1st level spell slot and then attacking twice to 3 times in the same turn, mind you. That's 60. That's an additional 3d6 on the turn of, potentially. Is it better than 2d? A d6 and a 2d4 are similar. 2d4 is 1 point of damage stronger on average. So Hunter's Mark will always beat Cordon of Arrows. Now the benefit is that you can multi-target with it. The main change he made here is it is a d8 of piercing damage. It just hits. I don't think that's a bad thing. And then whenever you increase the spell slot, it has additional d8 of damage. So casting it at 3rd level turns it into 8d8 spread over time and creatures, which is still less good than your 3rd level spell slots. But I think that's pretty good. I think those are good changes. Conjure Barrage, no change. I approve. Lightning Arrow. He made it so that the main target, I believe he turned this into a smite. Oh no, it was a smite before. Transforms into a lightning bolt. Target takes 3d8 lightning damage. Creature within 10 feet takes an additional 1d8 lightning damage. Just an automatic. Just got rid of the saving throw nonsense, and I approve of this. It doesn't do enough damage to justify the saving throw. He just kind of knocked the damage down by a die, but for the main target and the off targets, bringing it down from 48 to 3d8 and 2d8 down to 1d8. But he got rid of the save. just making a mess because you're already. So, like, the big thing here is that this is the bonus damage. You're already making an attack roll, right? And you have to spend your bonus action to amp it. So I think this is fine. I don't think you need saving throws to deal bonus damage. I don't think you need that. That's dumb. Conjure Volley, no change. I agree. Swift Quiver, this spell sucks. I did some math on it. This spell actually just sucks. Hunter's Mark on average does more. Obviously the difference is if you have a magical weapon that has bonus dice, then this becomes better. And I think that's the intention. But in either case, you make 2 attacks with a weapon that fires it, such as light bow crossbow. Dispatch magically creates ammunition in each time you attack. Each attack created by this damage deals non-magical piercing damage of any kind and disintegrates immediately if hit or miss. The big difference here is no concentration. And I think this is fair. Because all this really does is it enables range. Range-based attackers, bow-based rangers, to do good damage. That's all it does. But it costs you a 5th level spell slot. Like, this has to have as much value as Conjure Volley. 8d8 force damage in value in a 40-foot radius. Now, it's a 20-foot high cylinder, but 40-foot radius area. That is basically the battlefield in most fights. In almost every fight, it is the battlefield. All enemies take 8d8 force damage, dexterity half. So, getting 2 additional attacks with a bonus action on bow weapons on a basic weapon, because you have to assume basic weapon, because we can make the argument that maybe you'd have like a +2 or a +3 weapon, maybe a +1 damage die weapon. Doing an additional 2d6, 2d8, possibly 2d10 if you're using a crossbow, plus mod. You don't even get the plus mod. Actually, you do get the plus mod because it's still a regular attack. Plus mod, so +5. And if you're using the heavy stuff, you get an additional 6. So you're getting about 4. You're getting 6, 5, so 11. 4 on a d6. Or sorry, 5 on a d8. You're doing, on average, like an additional 16. So you're doing like 32 more damage a turn. But to single targets. But individual targets. I think that's fine. I think that's comparative to this. Comparative to this. Just got rid of the concentration. That's it. I think I'll just lift these. Honestly, I don't see a reason to make any changes beyond this. These are all good changes. They give the ranger a good identity, which is that I'm really, really good at attacking stuff, which is what the ranger does. The bow ranger is the obvious winner of the spells. They get a lot of benefits out of it. I gotta check lightning arrow with a range attack using a weapon. I mean, you can always throw a dagger. I believe dagger has a 20-foot range. Dagger has 20-foot throw range. Yeah, so there's no reason that you can't just, like, take an offhand weapon of a dagger, throw it at somebody for this. Because it costs A dagger's 2 GP, really? Damn. But yeah, like, you could just throw a dagger at someone. Boom. Lightning strike. I'm okay with this. Works for strength-oriented rangers. Works for dex-oriented rangers. Like, conjure volley. You don't require a weapon, like a ranged weapon. Conjure barrage, you don't require a weapon. So, yeah, I think the thing is, I think of when I think of ranger, I think Aragorn from Lord of the Rings, right? And I think now, obviously, this is a more magical idea of him because magic is much higher in D&D than it is in Lord of the Rings, or much more prevalent, I should say. But, I do think that, that a ranger, generally speaking, should have some sort of ranged weapon, some sort of melee weapon with them at all times. Right? Like, they are just like, I have a bow and I have a blade. It could be an axe blade. Hell, it could even be a club. But a ranger is, in my mind, is always, I have the right tool for the right job. Right? So I think that I think that this is a really, really good set of spells, a really good set of changes for a number of spells that needed some help. So we're gonna keep that. I'm actually gonna recently closed window. Hold on. We're gonna copy this doc link. Close it. Go copy the doc link, close it. We're gonna go into here. Ranger spell changes. I'm just gonna put in it. That's one. Oh, it's not tenant. It's tree. Is it treant? Oh, Trent monk. Trent monk's temple. There we go. Spell changes. I actually think I'm going to keep with all of those changes that he made. I think those are phenomenal changes to the Ranger spell casting. And it pretty much solves the entirety of the existing Ranger spell list. I see no reason to alter them further. And that basically just solves like all of the spells that the Ranger currently has as issues. It turns the existing spells that are smite-like, it basically removes the saving throws associated with them for the bonus damages. Specifically for the bonus damage. Bonus damage just happens. Much like the Paladin smite spells. Bonus damage, it just happens. Other effects beyond that, you need saving. They get a saving throw for specifically for the ensnaring strike, because it's the only one that that has a follow-up like that. Yeah, the bramble style one, it just does damage. It's just a rider that you do, which is fine because it basically makes it like Ice Knife. And then the garbage spells such as Cordon of Arrows and whatnot, yeah, it just doesn't suck anymore. I'm gonna actually send those changes to the boys. making, because I'm gonna send this these changes to Reaper. Now that I think about it, I know I'm gonna do that before I forget. Where is my boys? Wait, no. We have 2014 rules. Never mind. We're not doing that change. Okay. So I think those are good changes. I think those are helpful changes. I think those changes don't hurt the Ranger in a bad way, in any bad ways. I don't see it creating any issues. Obviously, there is the big concern, and I think this is a valid criticism, that it creates a really strong level 1 dip for a fighter. Because they effectively end up getting 4 smites. Right? They can get 4 smites as a result of this. And I agree. Of that setup. And I agree. I think with my setup, they only get 2. And then they get Hunter's Mark, which is not better than it already was, which is already insanely good. All it does is it just makes things slightly less bad. And it's on a fighter, which, you know, which already has its own issues with that. It does mean that they're giving up their extra attack at the end, like the 4th attack, which the 4th attack actually does a lot. So there is some dangers with multi-classing with this, but because of the way that multi-classing is already dangerous, and this isn't really a big... in my case, this is not a large buff for level 1. It's a very good buff for higher levels. And buffing for higher levels is what we're going for. Level 1 changes are very minimal. The only major boost that this does is it makes Cordon of Arrows not suck. And, I mean, that's fine. It was so bad. It was honestly not very good before. Okay. Let's get back to actually working on features, because that's the big thing that we wanted to work on. Especially considering that I have to work early tomorrow morning, so I won't be in streaming tomorrow. Speaking of, did I ever get that email saying what's going on? Oh, I got the Windsor-London trip. Excellent. That'll keep me... That'll be a fun drive. Okay. Continuing on. Assuming that we keep with the changes already, this means that we can go into, like, the no longer need concentration for Hunter's Mark. If we just get rid of this. A creature that has your favorite enemy creature type is considered to always be under the effect of Hunter's Mark for you without having to cast the spell. I kind of like this in general, because it means that you can have more than one target for this. This also means that you can, if the situation calls for it, you can attack, kill a creature that has Hunter's Mark that you've cast on it. Notice that the next enemy you want to attack is your favorite enemy. You can just use your actions and attack him, and then you can use your bonus action to smite shot him as well. Right? Use one of your smite spells rather than having to spend your bonus action to move it to the next target. So this gives you specialized damage output. And I kind of like the idea of specialized damage output. Alternatively, we can go or a creature that has... I really like the idea of like level 10, you get a new benefit for your favorite enemy stuff. Type takes I don't make it just flat bonus damage though, because we end up in a situation... I had said this yesterday too. I don't want to increase the damage dice, because then we end up in a situation where you have to have d6s and d10s or d8s or whatever. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to do something like, do we want to just give the advantage at all times? So that we can lean into Precise Hunter later? Maybe that's an idea? A creature that has your favorite enemy creature type and is targeted... under the effects of Hunter's Mark. And under the effects of Hunter's Mark. Have advantage on attack rolls on attacks against creatures that have your favorite enemy creature type and are under the effects of Hunter's Mark. Like, that's something that we could do. This way you just get advantage on them now. Like, just straight, you get flat advantage against creatures that you have Hunter's Marked if they're your favorite enemy. I feel like this is still kind of weak. And then at which point I would make this Precise Hunter or Precise Hunter instead of Foe Slayer. But yeah, like something along that. I want this to be... I want the level 10 feature to be something that tracks on maybe something like... Maybe not necessarily on Hunter's Mark, but Hunter's Mark and or your favorite enemy. Like, I want it to be your favorite enemy buff. What exactly, I don't know. We want something else with the Paragon Hunter. I don't know what. I feel like you just go first. Opportunity attacks made against you are with disadvantage, and at the start of your turn, you automatically take the search action. No action required. Like, these are pretty useful. But I feel like there needs to be like one more thing. Right, just something that kind of just screams, I'm better at this than you are. Right, like that's the big goal. I mean, can never be surprised. I mean, that's an option. But I mean, I don't like that being tacked. Like, that just feels like a ribbon, because if you wanted that feature like that, you would have gotten it through a feat. This does kind of run a feat null and void in the late game, but I mean, I'm gonna just say it. I don't know any GMs personally that wouldn't just let you just retrain that. Just say, hey, I got this Paragon feature that kind of is... half of it is what this feat does, and the other half is really cool stuff. Can I just trade this feat out? Because I think this actually does just null and void the alert feat, period. which is when you roll initiative, you can add your proficiency bonus to the roll. You can immediately swap. So the big thing that alert does is it gets rid of the... You lose out on the bonus for the initiative, but you being able to swap with anybody is really powerful still. So being able to just go, yeah, I go first, but because I have alert, I'm gonna have our wizard, who is actually going last right now. I'm gonna go last, and he's gonna go first because I want him to set us all up. So this basically means that if you have the alert feat with this, you pick who goes first rather than you going first. So that's actually insanely powerful. I forgot that they changed that. So I think that's fine. I don't think that's actually a huge deal. You can never be surprised, meaning that you always take part in combat in the first round. So there's that too. Yeah, no, I think that's fine. Maybe this might need a little bit more, but that's fine for now. When you have advantage on attacks against creatures that are affected by your Hunter's Mark, does something other than damage, and miss the attack you may once per round. You hit instead. I am uncertain as to what to give the ranger for this. This obviously means that you always have your favorite enemy benefit. If we're running with this one right here. And I kind of like this one a little bit more, especially after the changes that I'm kind of committing to for the spell of Hunter's Mark. Because Hunter's Mark at level 9 will, if you cast as a 3rd level spell, it no longer requires concentration, which I think is fine. So if we get rid of this, this is pretty good. And then we're gonna make one quick change here. All expended uses twice for the expended use. Okay, you don't use it. You may, at higher levels, you may expend more uses of this feature, of this ability, not feature, ability, equal to cast Hunter's Mark, at higher level. I cannot type today. At higher levels. The number of uses expended is equal to the level of the casting. You cannot cast cast this. You cannot cast Hunter's Mark at a spell using this feature a higher level, then you have spell slots. There. Now you can use, so now as of level 9, which at level 9, the ranger has 4 uses of favorite enemy. So you could cast it at 3rd level and get it for 8 hours without needing concentration. And you can effectively do that for the rest of the game. And I think that's fine, because you have 1 use of favorite enemy left. What are we gonna do? And I ask you, what was it that we were gonna do if you were here yesterday? What was it we were gonna do with the subclasses at level 7? We were gonna make it so that you could use your favored enemy feature as a means to cast specific spells, or use them as an ability pool to use abilities. Basically, we're going to use it as a fuel, as the resource to have a 7th level feature activate for the Rangers subclasses to get them a little bit more flavor, get them the pseudo free spell casting. And you don't even have to do this. You could just say, no, I just want to cast Hunter's Mark at level 1. Because I don't mind concentrating on it, because I have others. I don't really have any concentration spells I really want to use. You can do that too if you want. So this allows for you to, and then lean on the 7th level feature for its other uses. For example, the Gloomstalker might just give you access to darkness. I don't see a reason why not. Expend 2 uses of your favorite enemy, and you get to cast darkness. I think that's cool. That's just one idea, though. All right. We have not addressed. I think we have addressed every single level here. I think we're just gonna put Unseen as opposed to Nature's Veil. Because I'm gonna just say it. Nature's Veil is probably a feature that's just gonna get replaced by like a 7th level feature. Being able to just cast invisibility on yourself, that's probably just gonna be something that I'm gonna give either the Hunter or the Fey Wanderer. One of the two. And it's just going to run off your favorite enemy resource. So we're going to get rid of Nature's Veil. And again, this is just my first draft of ideas. Like, this is just a draft of ideas. There's all kinds of stuff that we could change still. I do like the idea that Foe Slayer and Efficient Preparation are both part of level 10. Because neither of these are particularly good on their own, but you get 2. Right? Like, Tireless was always kind of, in my opinion, like, not that great. And I'm of the mind that, like, levels 1 through 8, obviously 8, but 1 through 7, 1 through 8, don't really need anything. Like, I made some minor changes to favorite enemy, right? Whereas, like, you can up here's the 2 changes that I made to favorite enemy. You can expend more uses to upcast it, which is strictly there for the purposes of the spell changes. The spell changes that I'm adopting are from Trinity Monk, and I think they're fine. I don't think they make the Ranger busted in any way, shape, or form. And then we just added the ability to, you have advantage on search and study actions when you target your favorite enemy. That's it. So when you research an enemy that is your favorite enemy, right, to see what you know about them, you have advantage. When you are trying to track them down because you know their habits, you know what sort of trails they leave, you have advantage. I don't see a problem with this. I think this is fine. This is mostly ribbon. But it's cool. It's there for when people kind of really lean into it. So I think those are like the best changes I really need for that. Deft Explorer, and then we moved the 2 languages that you get from Deft Explorer. We just moved it into Favorite Enemy. So no power change there. It's just a little bit more front loaded in the first level. Languages are also mostly circumstantial anyways. And then instead of getting a second expertise, which you already only got 1, instead we just force it into survival because fucking Ranger. And on top of that, you just, instead of it just being like, if you have it already because you took human or what, and took, something that gives you expertise because you took rogue level 1 or something, I don't know. You can just pick something else. And then difficult terrain doesn't slow your group travel while you're in there. You can move at normal pace for pretty much any other anything that would normally reduce your speed, you no longer have it reduced. And so you can do a secondary activity while traveling at all times. And you have advantage on survival D20 tests. I should actually clarify this. On wisdom survival tests. So what? That's not a huge deal. It just means that you're really, really good. Like, you're generally good at finding stuff. And then in your favorite terrain, you're just really good at it. Difficult terrain still affects you. Like, this is just a walking benefit. This, I would say, is actually probably slightly better than the languages. Not much, though. And it gives you that cool aspect. I don't fight better in these areas. I just travel better in these areas. I think that's good. I think that's cool. And then we're good all the way up to level 9. Then you get 1 more expertise, rather than 2, which I think is fine, because expertise, in my opinion, are less important than a lot of people give it credit for. You get 1 additional expertise. Right? You get less expertise than the rogue and the bard. That's fine. I like that. You then get evasion. You get it 2 levels later than the rogue and the monk. But you get it. I think that's really, really important for the ranger. Ranger getting evasion, because, I mean, they have hit points, but they don't have defensive structures. They don't have any form of healing. They don't have any form, but the fighter has, I think, 4 dice of healing at this point? How many dice of healing do they have? Albeit the dice of healing is not, particularly impressive. But at level 9, they have 3 second wins at level 9, but they get a 4th one at level 10. But they get Indomitable. So the fighter gets Indomitable, you get evasion. I think that's fair. And then at level 10, you get Efficient Preparation, which gives you less total temporary hit points, but it gives you a larger boost. Equal to, I'm going to say a D10. 1d8. Plus your level. Just that little bit extra. I think a 1d8 plus your level. So you get 5, you get 15 temporary hit points. That's a pretty good chunk. Once you have used this feature, you can't use it until you complete a short or long rest. You get it once per fight most of the time, which is kind of the way that it was structured anyways. It's just you get a little bit more. Not a lot more, but a little bit more. And then you get to reduce exhaustion whenever you complete a short or long rest. This is a ribbon feature. Base rules, this is a ribbon feature. Foe Slayer, you have advantage on attack rolls against creatures that have your favorite enemy creature type and are under the effects of Hunter's Mark. Notably, you do not add more favorite enemies to your list as a base. And I think that's good. I think if you get to, I think over the course of play, if you are adding a favorite enemy to your favorite enemy list, that is a GM and player-oriented conversation. I think that is a conversation that you have based on the game that has been happening. And your favorite enemy has to be something like significant to you. So 2 creature types. You're really good against 2 specific creature types. Otherwise, this is not a very powerful feature. And you could make the argument that this is not particularly powerful anyways, because advantage is not huge. And I would actually agree with that. Relentless Hunter. When you cast Hunter's Mark from your favorite enemy feature, this spell is cast at highest level you can cast. I think this needs to be changed now that we have the spell changed, so this needs to be different. I don't know what we're going to change it to yet, but it needs to be changed. Unseen. You can spend a minute creating camouflage for yourself. You have access to fresh dirt, mud, soot, other naturally occurring materials. Create your camouflage. Once camouflage is in its way, you can hide up against a solid rock, surface, wall, etc. Or even the ground at least as tall and as wide as you. This allows you to take the hide action without being heavily obscured, or without being heavily obscured, or having any form of cover. If you have broken line of sight when you take the hide action, a creature does not see you as long as you don't make a sound louder than a whisper. Make an attack roll. Cast a spell. Make an attack roll. Cast a spell with a verbal component, or move from your position. You can hide as a bonus action on your turn. Also, you can't be tracked by non-magical means unless you choose to leave a trail. And I'm going to just point out, this is a ribbon feature. This is useful sometimes. It's useful to gain advantage if you need it. And that comes up again at level 17. When you have advantage on attack roll against a creature affected by your Hunter's Mark, which your favorite enemies are always added, you always have advantage against creatures that are your favorite enemy. Does something other than damage. And miss the, you may once per round hit instead. We need something that does other than damage. This is not good enough. This needs to be better. I don't know what, but it needs to be better. It can be something like you get to apply a second weapon property. You get to, if it kills the creature, you may... Ooh, actually, that's a cool idea. It may hit instead. If this attack... Okay. I got an idea. When you attack, have advantage on attacking a creature that is affected by your Hunter's Mark, and the attack kill reduces the target to 0 hit points. You may move your Hunter's Mark Hunter's Mark to a new target. No bonus action. To a new target without using your bonus action. This can be Relentless Hunter. That's a cool feature. It doesn't sound like much, but this basically frees up your bonus action every turn. And that's cool. Being able to just free up your bonus action by taking out your favored enemies and if you have advantage for some other reason. So such as you took the hide action the previous turn as a bonus action. You poke your you poke your head out, you get the guy that isn't your favorite enemy, knock him down to 0. You get to retarget somebody else that is your favorite enemy. You shoot him, get to then move that again. There you go. Without using your bonus action. You may only move. You may only change the target. You can use this ability once per turn. So you can't keep going bounce, 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 bounce. But you could potentially move it as a bonus action and then move it again as a non-bonus action. This is level 17. You need to have really cool stuff. It needs to feel cool. It's like you get to move your your Hunter's Mark around the battlefield now for free. Effectively for free. This is technically a damage buff, but not really. It doesn't make you do more damage, it lets you do more damage. It lets you do your damage more efficiently. On average, I think it creates a scenario where you might do an additional 2d6 a round. So, at most. So I don't think it's a lot. I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's dangerous. Additional 2d6 per round, so that's like on average that's 5. So that's 7 damage on average. We're working with about 75% attack rates, so that is -1. So you're dealing about 4 bonus damage. Your damage consistency goes up by about 4. Maybe not even. Probably closer to 3. So I think that's fine. Well, actually, it gives you the attack rolls too on the bonus actions if you are attacking with your bonus action, which if you're using Swift Quiver, if you're using Swift Quiver or dual wielding, you get the bonus attacks, which does mean that on average you do get an additional attacks on, we'll say 50% of your turns. So assuming you get 2 attacks in, and we assume that you're utilizing good damage, that is, you get 1 of the 2 attacks most of the time. We'll say on average you get, so it's 1 attack, so that's 5 plus 6 plus 5 plus 3. You get 5 plus 6 plus 5 plus 3, so that's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 damage. You hit 75%. So it's on average. Your damage consistency goes up by probably about 14. 12 to 14, probably. And that's damage consistency. So it doesn't really boost your damage. It boosts your lifetime damage, but not your maximum damage. So you won't be doing more damage in a turn, but you will be doing uh more towards your highest amount of damage on a regular basis. So you won't have your damage taxed as often. So I think this is fine. This needs to be changed. So this can be that we don't have to use Precise Hunter. Paragon Hunter is fine. I kind of like it. You gain the following benefits. You go first. You can never be surprised. Opportunity attacks against you are made with disadvantage. At the start of the turn, you automatically take the search action. No action required. I think that needs to be something a little bit better. This is one like sequence of ideas. So I think it works, but I think we need to do something a little bit more. They don't really need defenses. Let's look at some other stuff, see if maybe there's something that'll spark my ideas. Ooh. Here's an idea. When you would have a condition, when a condition would be applied to you, you may ignore it. You yeah, ignore it. You may ignore it. Once per long rest. We're not gonna. I'm just gonna get all my ideas just written down right now. That we could add that. We could do something like jeez, I'm close. On a saving throw, whoops. You move half your speed. Up to half your speed. Let me think here. Attacking. Have the invisible condition. You no longer Attacking no longer ends the invisible condition. No longer ends your invisible condition. Meaning you can attack from being hidden and it doesn't end the condition. Creatures still have to find you. That's cool, actually. I kind of like that one. Let me think here. Let's just pick a few of these. Attacking no longer ends your invisibility condition. I just like this. Like, you're an expert ambusher. I like this. Succeed on a saving throw, move at half speed. It should be applied to you. Ignore it. I kind of don't like these. Can never be surprised. I like this. Let's move this up in the thing, though. Can never be surprised. You go first in the turn order. Opportunity attacks against you are made with disadvantage. At the start of your turn, you automatically take the search action, no action required. I'm just going to get rid of that. I feel like if that was a thing that you would get that at, like, 10. Maybe we would throw that in as, like, a ribbon on 13. When a condition would be applied to you, ignore it once per rest. Succeed on saving throw, move to half your speed. No. When a condition... get rid of this. Attacking no longer ends your invisible condition. So you can utilize unseen to just be hidden and fire. You don't get the bonus, you don't have the flat bonus from that you used to get from hide in plain sight, so it's not going to be impossible to find you. But if you have expertise in stealth, you're going to have a 12, well, you're going to have a plus 17. So you're not going to be easy to find. But a lot of creatures at high level have things like true sight, see invisibility, tremor sense, blind sight. So there's a good chance that they'll probably just see you anyways. But if you have the invisibility condition and you're outside of those sight ranges, they don't know where you are. They might know what direction you are, but they don't know where you are. When a condition would be applied to you, you may ignore it. Okay, now let's do something here. We're gonna do a little thing here, which is we are going to take a little looky look. We're gonna take a little looky look here at the Paladin. The Paladin has quintessential awesome shit at level 20. So Zeal, Vengeance, Devotion, Ancients, Glory. No, not Zeal. Well, Zeal and Slaughter are third party, I believe. Pestilence, that's also Grim Hollow. Are these third party? Grim Hollow. I think like D&D is gonna be leaning a lot on third-party stuff. according to most people, it's better than everything except for the PHB. Okay, cool. I'll have to actually go through it all at some point because I haven't done that yet. All right, let's look at the Paragon stuff. So, Oath of Devotion. As a bonus action, you move yourself. Create benefits for 10 minutes or until you end them. When you use this, you can no longer use it to finish a long rest or until you expend a 5th level spell. Let's see here. We can close this. Close this. Close this. Let's see here. Close this also. There we go. Now things are a little bit cleaner. You get you have advantage on saving throws you are forced to make by fiends or an undead. Whenever an enemy starts to turn the aura, the creature takes radiant damage equal to your charisma modifier plus your proficiency goal, so probably 9 to 10 damage for free. And you create bright light. Bright light that is sunlight. So this does things like vampires and stuff like that. It does a lot of stuff there. Living Legend. You're blessed with otherworldly presence and have advantage on all charisma checks. If you fail a saving throw, you can take a reaction to re-roll it. And each turn combat when you take a weapon attack miss, you can cause that attack to hit instead. Let's see here. Enemies in the aura have disadvantage on saving throws against your spells and channel divinity options. At the start of each turn, you regenerate 10 hit points. Whenever you cast a spell, the cast time of an action, you can use it as a bonus action instead. That's pretty awesome. And then for Vengeance, you gain flight. Creatures in your aura have gained the frightened condition from a saving throw. And the attack rolls against said frightened creatures are at advantage. So you don't get any, like... So the big thing here is, like, you get the ambusher stuff with this. Right? And a hunter is, like, the ranger is, like, the ambusher style class. In my humble pie opinion. Like, if there's any class at a base that is an ambusher, it's the rogue and the ranger. The rogue really doesn't... Like, the rogue doesn't want to fight. But they'll fight dirty. The ranger wants to fight and will fight dirty. Never be surprised. You're always acting.
Roll initiative, kid.
Oh, geez, what the heck is this? Who is this? Golden Knight with the raid of 3 people. That is awesome. Thank you very much for the raid. I appreciate it. I hope you were having a good time doing whatever it was that you were doing. Unfortunately, I too am going to be leaving very shortly because I have to go to work soon. But I appreciate the raid nonetheless. Just had an 8-hour stream of DM advice. Jesus. That's awesome. Oh my. What else here? Top, yes, you can't lose invisibility. You can't be attacks against you have disadvantage. You can just kind of run from stuff. You have the hit points for it. And when a condition may be applied to you, you may just ignore it. I think we get rid of this. I think it's too much if we have that in there. 8-hour stream. Jeez, I could not. I don't think I can do that. I think the longest I ever did was like a 6-hour stream, and I was exhausted. One of our buds is going to be a first timer, and he's been asking questions. Okay, fair enough. My simple piece of advice to that, more often than not, is just do what you want. Just say what it is that you want to do, and we'll go from there. And well, you can, temper your expectations. It's really not. Oh, I do 6 regularly. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, for a newbie, just kind of like, just pay attention to what other people are doing. Just say what you want to do that's inside of a similar scope to what they're saying, and let us take care of the rest. Everything else will come into play and will make sense as time goes on. Do 6 regularly? Jeez, that's crazy. I couldn't do it. I really couldn't do it. Like, I do... DMing is communicate themes and be chill and have fun. Yeah, like, the other thing, and this is something that I've told a lot of people that get nervous about messing up things up. My response is, newsflash. We all mess things up. I've been doing this for 15-ish years. Yeah, no, I'm on my ass majority of the time. Yeah. I mean, fair. I think on Sundays, how long do I go on Sundays? 5-ish hours, I want to say. 4-ish hours. 4.5, something like that on Sunday specifically. Yeah, no, we still mess up. Like, I screw stuff up all the time. Nobody's going to be mad that you screwed it up. Maybe in the moment that they're going to be a little annoyed that things aren't going the way they want, but that's kind of it. Especially if you have civil people that you're playing with. Civil, decent people. Especially if they're your friends. Like, let's be honest here. You might get a little annoyed at your friend in the moment, but you're not going to actually be mad at them. Not over the long term. Okay. So we're almost there. We're almost there. We just need a 13th level feature that makes a lot of sense for the Ranger. And that's mostly it for the base Ranger at that point. Because I think we've got everything else that we want to change in the change bin. Not to be confused with the swear jar. I've been playing and running games for about half that. I've definitely made more than my fair share of mistakes. It's not even that you've made mistakes, because let's be honest here, mistakes is when you learn. It's that you still to this day make mistakes. Because I've been playing for 18 years, I think now. I think the math is 18 years. I've been to raid and run, but I'm gonna have to puff. That's fine. I'm going to be ending stream in about 5 minutes anyways, because I got to grab a quick bite to eat and get out the door for work. So, I usually stream at this time every day. So, if you want to swing by again another time, you're more than welcome. Sometimes you just got to carry on. Yeah, exactly. So I'm probably gonna rack my brain a little bit over all this. Actually, I'm gonna do something real quick here. So I'm gonna copy all this, and then I'm gonna open my ideas bin. I don't think it'll catch that on my stream. No, it won't. Good. And then we're gonna go into we're just gonna make a random note in here. Leave it as untitled. Slap all this in here so that I have it on my phone later. Keep it there, and then just kind of let that sit and whatnot. So I'll give you both a little follow. Thank you very much for swinging by. There you go. So that maybe I'll see you guys when you
Greetings, traveler.
I'll see you guys when you go live again, maybe sometime. See what's going on. Thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. Yeah. All right. So that is unfortunately where I'm going to end it. And yeah. So hopefully I'm going to try and mull my brain over getting something for... I won't be back on tomorrow. I have work. I got to work super early. Tomorrow I got to do a big ass long haul to for about 4-ish hours, 3.5-ish hours to the border, so that'll be fun. And then I gotta make my way back. So tomorrow's a little bit busy for me. Can't stream, but I will be back probably Thursday. I don't see a reason why I wouldn't be unless something changes. And yeah, appreciate you guys for swinging by. Thank you for special shout out to Golden Knight and Pixie Cat Games for their follows and raid. Appreciate you guys, and until next time,